Hi, welcome to Open Door Yoga. My name is Michelle, and today is day 3 of our 7 days of yoga and self-love series. Today's positive affirmation will be the following. I step outside of my comfort zone so that I can grow. I do not let myself be guided by fear. And I'll say it again. I step outside my comfort zone so that I can grow. I do not let myself be guided by fear. So today we're going to get started in a stretch that for many feels a little bit scary, but don't be scared by this stretch. It is a toe stretch. So let's get started by coming onto our hands and knees. We're going to bring our knees to touch, our toe mounds to touch, and then tuck your toes, reaching back to help tuck those pinky toes because sometimes they just don't want to tuck on their own. And then from here, slowly begin to walk your hands up your thighs and let your weight settle more and more over your heels. Now, if this is too intense of a stretch for you, that's okay. You can walk your hands slightly down your thighs or even plant them on the mat, just lifting your heels or lifting your hips slightly off of your heels. But if you can stay in this full variation, I strongly invite you to do so. Our feet are one of those things that we just tend to ignore, but we put the most stress on. We put our feet in shoes that probably don't work the best for our body all of the time. They support all of the weight of our body as we move around through our day. And they're also the start of this line of fascia that runs from the bottom of our feet all the way up our back body. And that fascia supports all of our muscles, our bones, our joints, our tissues, our organs. So we want to give the bottoms of our feet here a little bit of love. We'll just be here for a few more breaths. Maybe take this opportunity to give yourself a few shoulder rolls. Sometimes that takes our mind off of the sensation that you might be feeling. One more full breath in. And then exhale slowly. We're going to make our way out of this posture. So walk your hands down. Keep your toes tucked as you walk out to hands and knees. Excuse me, rooster. And then here, slowly rock up onto the very tippy toes of your toes. Pause for a second and then release the tops of your feet down to the ground. You can stay right here, feel the echo of that posture, or maybe tap the tops of your feet onto the mat if that feels good as well. A little bit of a counter stretch. From here, tuck those toes again. We're going to send our hips back and up, this time to downward facing dog. So thank you, rooster. Pedal out your feet. He knows the yoga's about to start and he is just out of here. Nice long spine. Create that space between your ears and your shoulders. Maybe even sway your hips from side to side as you extend into that leg. Make this posture your own. Invite some gentle movement if it feels good. And then we'll find stillness. So if in stillness your knees are bent or your heels are lifted, no worries. One more full breath in. Release that breath completely. And then inhale, slowly walk your hands back to your feet. And we'll meet in a forward fold. So you can have a nice knee bend here. Maybe even your knees are bent to create a little table with your thighs to rest your chest on. Sometimes that allows you to really release any tension that you're feeling in the back of your neck, allowing the crown of your head to drop. Inhale, let's rise to half lift. Lift your sitting bones, send your thighs back, crown reaches forward. Shoulder blades are flat on our back body. You'll feel some sensation between your shoulder blades here, almost like you're trying to pinch a dollar bill between your shoulder blades. Strong core. And exhale, forward fold. So now for here, if you're looking for a little bit of an intense stretch, feel free to grab your folded blanket or your folded towel. We're going to bring it under our toes. So our toe mounds are lifted on our blanket and our heels are lowered. If you are not looking to use a folded blanket, I just want you to imagine grounding down through your heels. And then from here, begin to straighten your legs. Maybe we're lifting up onto our fingertips. Maybe send those hips from side to side. You can bring that slight bend back into your knees. See if you can reach the palms of your hands down onto the earth. And if you can, maybe even you walk those hands forward into a short downward facing dog. If you can't, no worries. We're just opening up a little bit more intensely through that back body, working our way up from our toes into the backs of our legs and our low back. One more full breath in here. Exhale, release that blanket if you chose to grab it. Bend those knees, forward fold. Inhale slowly. We're going to stack one vertebra at a time as we rise up to standing. The head, or the top of your head, is the very last thing to rise up. We're moving slowly because we spent a lot of time in an inversion, and it's easy to get lightheaded. So take your time, find a cooling breath as you arrive, if it helps you feel a little bit more settled. And then when you feel stable and you feel safe, let's make our way to the top of the mat. Toe mounds to touch, slight V at your heels, or your feet can be under your hip points here. Fingers are zipped together, fingertips piercing down towards the ground, crown is lifting. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead, extended mountain gaze can lift. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands, step your left foot back, and we're going to lower our left knee down to the mat. You can use your folded blanket under your left knee if this is uncomfortable for you in any way. Hug your thighs to the midline to keep our hips neutral, and then send your hips forward and down. Open up through your chest. You can rise to fingertips. You could bring your hands to your support surface or your blocks. Or maybe we just sweep our arms up and overhead, really sinking into this sensation, this opening through our whole front body. One more full breath in here. And then exhale, fold forward. Just begin to straighten through your right leg. So we're going to send our hips up and back, rocking on our right foot or our right heel so our toes are pointed up into this half splits or kind of intense hamstring stretch on this right side. You can have a gentle bend in your right knee here. Keep that opening through your chest. So try to avoid a really intense rounding here. So maybe we're up on our fingertips or our hands are still on our support surface or our blocks. Full breath in, full breath out. And then inhale, send it on forwards. And from here, if it's available to you, we're going to tuck our back toe, lift our left knee. Pause here. Left heels over left toe mound. We're still hugging those thighs to center. Nice, strong base. And if it's available to you now, lift those fingertips and hover. This is a little balance check. If you find yourself wobbling, hug your thighs towards the central line. One more full breath in. And then if it's available to you, fly those hands back. Feel that sensation between your shoulder blades. Again, it's like I'm giving you a $100 bill and you want to hold on to it between those shoulder blades. Hold on tight. Find that opening through your chest. One more inhale. Exhale, release, plant that knee back. One more time, let's send those hips up and back. Rock on that right foot into our hamstring stretch. Notice if this stretch feels any different this time compared to the first time through. If you're noticing your hips starting to open up towards the left, imagine pulling that right thigh bone back into the right hip socket. One more full breath in here. Then send that weight forward and down. Hands are both planted on the inside of the right foot. Toe heel the right foot to the outside of the mat, and then turn your toes out about 45 degrees. We're going to come into lizard stretch. Touch base with your body here. If this is already feeling like too much sensation, use the props available to you to lift your body up a little bit higher. Now, if you're hanging out here and it doesn't feel like much sensation at all, you're welcome to take a fold. Folding at your hips a little bit deeper. You could bring your elbows down to blocks or to the ground, or maybe even fold deeper than that. But what I want you to do is check in with your hips. So if you decide to take a fold, make sure that as you're folding, your hips aren't popping up in the air. Because our outer hips is where we want to keep this sensation. So keep those hips low. If you can't keep them low in a fold, pop on back up. Find the variation that feels good to you. We'll just be here for one more full breath in, one more full breath out. And if you've taken a fold, rise on out of it. Toe heel your right foot back in. Step that right foot back to hands and knees. Take some gentle movement here if it feels good. Maybe sway from side to side. Send your left hip out to the left, looking past your right shoulder. And then taking it to the other side. As you're ready, from here we're going to step our left foot forward. Keep that right knee down for now. Send your hips forward and down, opening up through your chest. So fingertips can stay on the mat. Maybe your hands are on a support surface or your thigh, or we're opening up through our whole front body here. Full inhales, full deep exhales. Last full breath in here. And send those hands down. Send your hips up and back, rocking on that left heel into our half splits posture on this other side. Nice long spine. If it feels good, you can have a little bit of gentle rounding just to release any tension that you might be holding on to in your neck. Maybe send your breath to the parts of your body where you're feeling the sensation the most, where they need a little bit more love today, as we might be a little bit out of our comfort zone. As you're ready, bend into that left knee to send your hips forward and down again. And from here, as you're ready, lift that back knee if it's available in your body. Heel is stacked over our toe mound. Left knee is stacked about over our left ankle. Hug those thighs to the midline to start to build a little bit of heat and a little bit of stability here in our legs. And then open up through your chest, hover. We've lifted these fingertips slightly off of the mat. Do your balance check. If we're wobbling, keep that strength, that engagement in our legs. It's going to help you a lot. One more full breath in here. And then if it's available to you, fly those arms back, palms down towards the ground, fingertips reaching towards the back wall. Shoulder blades down and in on our back body. And that's where we're holding a lot of our sensation, opening up through our chest. Back leg is strong and straight here. It's our rudder. One more full breath in. Exhale, release those hands, plant your right knee, send those hips up and back, find your way back into these half splits. So imagine here, we're not trying to sit down on the ground behind us. We're almost trying to sit on the wall behind us. So it's this lifting in our sitting bones, and that's going to bring that sensation a little bit more intensely into that hamstring. Take a couple more breaths here. And then we'll bend into that left knee. Plant both of our hands on the inside of our left foot. Toe heel your foot to the long edge of the mat. Turn your toes out about 45 degrees, lizard's pose. We'll take a handful of breaths here. So take your time and explore. Find the position that feels best in your body. Maybe we're bringing our hands up to our support surface. Or maybe we're taking a fold here, being mindful to check in with those hips, to make sure they're staying low. Wherever we are, we're keeping this opening through our chest, shoulder blades flat on our back body. Nice long neutral neck. Full breaths in, full breaths out. Take one more inhale here. And then as you're ready, if you folded, rise on out of that fold, toe heel your foot back in so your hands frame that foot, step it on back to hands and knees. Take that gentle movement again if it feels good, popping the left hip out to the side, sending your gaze past your right shoulder, and moving from side to side with your breath. As you're ready, we're all going to make our way to seated. So roll onto one hip, bring those feet in front of you into a nice comfortable seat. If you want to grab your lift again, you're welcome to do so. Bring it under those hips to bring those hips a little bit more comfortably higher than your knees. If you're feeling okay though, you're welcome to just sit on the mat. This is your choice. We're going to come into one last posture, and it's a seated bound angle or Badakanasana posture. So begin to bring the soles of your feet to touch. Knees are falling open to the outside. So now if you are feeling a lot of sensation here, again, remember your lift option. By bringing your hips up a little bit higher, it's going to take away some of the flexibility demands in your low back. You can also send those heels a little bit further away from your sitting bones, increasing this angle here in your knees. If you're looking for more intense stretch, send those heels a little bit closer. You can also play with pressing into the bottoms of your feet with your thumbs to open your feet like a book. Or if you're kind of stuck up higher, use your elbows to press into your upper thighs to maybe open up a little bit deeper. Full inhale here, nice long spine. Exhale if you'd like, you could take a fold. You could bring your forearms down to the earth or to bricks. Or maybe even fold a little bit deeper. As you're settled into this posture, if you're feeling any discomfort in your knees, things like blocks or a stack of blankets could be helpful. Just prop them under your knees, and sometimes that takes a little bit of that tension or that discomfort out of that joint. Let's take another couple breaths here. On your next inhale, rise on up. Remove any props that you've been using, except for your lift, because we're going to end in a nice, easy seat. So if you want that lift, grab it on back. You can cross here at your shins in Sukhasana or easy pose. Palms can be down on your thighs or your knees, or palms could be up if you'd like to take a mudra, we'll all close down our gaze or just lower it down to the ground. Sometimes closing our gaze feels a little bit too much in our body. Let's come back to our positive affirmation of today. I step outside my comfort zone so that I can grow. I do not let myself be guided by fear. I step outside of my comfort zone so that I can grow. I do not let myself be guided by fear. Take a few moments to repeat that affirmation, maybe as a mantra to yourself, or to notice what thoughts that affirmation brings in your body, and maybe sit with those. As you're ready, blink open your gaze or lift your gaze into this nice neutral spine, nice neutral neck. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today. We're done day 3. I hope you guys have the best rest of your day. Looking forward to day 4 tomorrow. Namaste.